Yeah.
I don't love that feeling.
I
You know,
remember his conversation brought up I got the same feeling that I did. I remember when we first started talking, and I couldn't put the booze down, even though I saw the destruction in its wake.
mm,
And I remember having a conversation with you, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but I wasn't talking to you about booze. It was just like another addiction that I had, and it was something simple. I actually think it was about sweets because at this point you did not yet know my love for guava pastries, and you just
mhm.
had always seen me eating trash, like whether it was candy bars or guava, like it was just always something sweet, and you were like, "Homie, like you can eat other things, bro, and like the sweets may even be better the next time you come back to them." And there was like that like light bulb went off, and it was like
Mm.
all of those little things, those little cliches that people had said just like clicked into place. And I was like, oh damn, what he's actually saying is if I can do the self work and I can have the discipline to sit myself down and tell myself life can be sweeter without having sweets all the time, whether it's booze, pot, Coke, pill, whatever. It can be that much better on the other side. And then, like I said, like that was it. That was the click. That was the turning point for me where I was like, I get it. I understand why this is like a lifelong thing for people if they decide to let it really grip them. Um, and I understand that it's a self work thing. And I know that's a cliche, but it's the goddamn truth, man. Like
Oh
you got
yeah.
to sit there with yourself. You learn, and that's part of the cheat code. I think is because when you get out on the other side, you've done so much self worth that now you're sitting from a whole new vantage point, and all of a sudden all this anger that you had for the situation that you were in is turned to compassion and love, and you're like, damn, I had to love myself so hard just so that the voice in my head would stop telling me to grab a drink, that now
Yep.
when I see other people going through it, I just can't help but do anything other than just be like, what can I do to help? I know you're not going to want to listen to me right now, but I'll
Right.
sit here with you. And whenever we can get to that next phase, because you're so close to that next phase, when all it takes is one word from somebody, and all of a sudden you go, oh my God, that's it. That was the key.
Yep.
Like you're right there. So I'm just going to sit with you. That's it. That's all it'll take.
Yeah, and you've probably noticed and observed in people in your life, and I know I have, is people in recovery. Yeah, man, I mean, they're battle tested, that's for sure. But there's a, I don't know, man. There's a love. There's a lack of judgment. There's definitely a lack of judgment because a lot of people who are sober are like, "Phew," they have stories to tell.
Oh,
Um, and but like there's like, and again, you're right. It's a cheat code, and I'm not wishing addiction struggles on people because it's a real thing, man. We're not addiction counselors. We're just two dudes who talk about our feelings. Um, but talking about your feelings is actually not a bad thing to do to get to potentially the root of why you have addiction. Whether I mean, I hate to say it, but if James is like, man, I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm alone. Yeah, man, you're just drinking just to get through the loneliness,
mm-hmm.
and it's not like, oh, well, go find a friend and that solves your problem.
But that's the
But
thing, like you said, like that's the thing. You could still find a friend and still drink. Like that's why I think it clicked so much with what you said about the sweets was that it was devoid of any other circumstance other than having to sit with myself alone and really, really pinpoint what it is that keeps me in this place. Because I was at that point where I was like, okay, I can't blame anybody else anymore. I can't blame anybody else. I
right,
can't blame the substance anymore because I am continuously putting myself back in this situation. It's my fault. And then once I got to that, I was like, all right, well,
now
damn.
what? Now what are you gonna
Exactly.
do? Yeah,
Exactly. And I had friends and always friends and family. I was lucky enough to have a good support system of people that constantly love me. But like I said, and that's to me, like, that's the paradox. That's how the universe works is it's a random conversation about guava pastries and payday bars that was the click. That was the
hmm,
click. I didn't need a grand gesture. I didn't need some big ornate display or an intervention. It was just a simple talk between friends where my buddy was like, "Put the sweets down, fatty." It's too much, you know? And I was like, damn, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. But that's it.